Alrighty guys, we should be good to go. Just give everybody a second to get here, and let's make sure that the audio is working correctly. As usual. Welcome back guys to another live stream. Audio should be working, it works every time, but you just have to make sure, otherwise you're going to have a very bad live stream with no audio and no explanation. Let's see if it's working. Audio is good to go. Alright, we are good to go. Awesome, let's go ahead and let everybody roll in here. This is going to be kind of a freer live stream. This isn't going to be very structured in any way. We're going to be doing pretty much whatever we want in Blender today. Let me just go ahead and wait for a few more people to roll in, and then we'll get started. One of the things I wanted to try today was to make like basically a procedural Rubik's Cube generator. I thought that could be like a fun thing to do. So let's go ahead and go into geometry nodes. I just want to try a couple things I had in mind that could just be kind of fun. Let's go ahead and add a grid. All right. Now I just want to try a couple things. I want to do instance on points, cube, and I just want to see a couple things here. All right. So theoretically, we could have a cube instance on a point. There's like the base of the Rubik's Cube. Now if you look at the Blender documentation, and we go over here and we pull up, I believe it's the manual. Yeah, okay, so in the manual, you got to search for duplicate, I think. Where is it? Curves. Oh, here you go. Duplicate elements node. So in the duplicate elements node, yep, here it is. So if you duplicate an element, you can change where it is. So duplicate. Let's do this real quick. All right, we got duplicate. Okay, set position. Oh, let me realize these instances first. All right, we'll come back to that. Hold on. Duplicate element. We'll do. Oh, we can do instance. There we go. Duplicate element instance, and then all we need to do is set up a multiply. So math node, multiply, and then a combine XYZ node. Let's try it. All right, let's see if this works. This would be really cool if this works. Now, in my case, I want to use the Z for the offset. And did it work? Duplicate instance. I don't think it worked. Oh, we have to raise the amount. And it did not work. Oh, wait, here we go. Boom. All right, we only want 2. So here's what I'm thinking now. Now that we have this all set up, we should be able to easily, let me full screen this. We should be able to easily do this. All right, so we have like our Rubik's Cube here. I'm just going to quickly save this as cube generator. Also, hi to everyone that's saying hi. Hello. I'm thinking this number, we want this to be the same as the vertices, right? Because when we lower a vertice or we raise it, we're also going to have to adjust the value here as well. If we make this 3, we can plug this in here, here, and here. We need to make this an integer, actually. I'm sorry, integer. We want it to be an integer because it can't have a fraction. So 1, 2, 3. The only thing is, now we have to adjust the spacing too, right? Because right now, I believe the spacing is set to 0.5. Let me see what it would have to be. Well, the size would have to adjust too. What would the size have to be? 1. Let's see if 1.5 works for both of these, because if it does, then it's like an even spacing. And then what we can do is we can calculate 4. How do we get to 1.5 from 4? Let me just do the math real quick. 3.7. Okay, 0.375. So if we take this and we multiply it, I'm thinking this through because we're going to adjust the spacing too. Just want to see what this looks like. Okay, we multiply it by, what did I say, 0.375? Just want to see if this works. Boom, boom, boom. Kind of. With a 2x2, you would want, well, I guess with a 2x2 it would be a little bit different. I want to see this too. What is this? This is the height. I guess the height you would want to be the same as this. Is that going to work? No, it's not going to work. Oh no, I'm thinking it through. 0.5 is half. So if we have 5 by 5, let's look at a 3 by 3. Is that even spacing? I believe that it is because we're just duplicating the elements. You know what? I'm silly. We want to duplicate the grid, I think, guys, instead. Let's try that. My fault. We'll just move this down here. Oh, also the size of the... I'm silly. The size of the cube, we probably want that to be... Do we want it to be 0.375? No, hold on. I'm just curious what would happen here. Yeah, that's not going to work. Hello, cgcookie. Can you brief me? I need to make stuff in Blender like an animation. Nice model. Can you help me start? Tried doing a tutorial. Got through half of it. Again, I don't know. Can you help me? I must know. And any tips? Just beginner Blender artist. I would definitely consider checking out cgcookie's website because they actually have a lifetime membership that's available right now that you can take advantage of. So I would definitely look into that. That's one thing I'll look into. And then there's also cgcookie core. Let me just pull that up for you guys. Here it is. So this right here is what you want to look into. Core fundamentals of Blender through cgcookie. That is the very best place to start. And then look, lifetime cgcookie membership. It ends this week, so I would definitely take advantage of that now if you guys can. Okay. All right, so let's go back to this real quick because I want to think about if we are instancing a cube onto these points, the spacing of the grid and the vertices, there's definitely going to be some math we're going to have to do to get this proper. So one of the things I want to do is I actually want to take all 3 of these, well actually all 4 of these nodes, bring them over here. I want to plug in my grid here and my set position there. And then I want to do this. There we go. Because I want to duplicate the grid. Perfect. And instead of instance, I'll do points. Perfect. Let's see if that worked. And it did. But why is it not going up another level? Because we're only duplicating it once, right? Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, the amount. Oh, I didn't plug in anything into the amount. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Did we do it? We kind of did it. The spacing gets a little bit weird towards the top there. And I'm wondering, does it have to do with the size of the cubes themselves? And I think that it does. So the spacing would relate to the size of the cube. So let me just think about this for a minute. This is the Z spacing. And the other spacing is this right here. So right here, we're taking the integer. I'm wondering if we take the value here, plug it in there. Let's just try 2.5. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. And then I wonder what this would have to be. Because what is it right now? It's just 0.5, but it looks even. Why does it look even? Maybe we just got lucky. I wonder what this distance is here. So basically we're taking our grid, we're duplicating it 3 times up, but we need to make sure that the distance is the same as it is here. Let me just try this. That wouldn't be it. So let's try half of this. Divide by 2. Is that it? Nope. Does that make sense though, what I just was pointing out there? As a beginner, should I start on shader nodes? Yeah, I would. Yeah, you could start there. Me personally, I would start with modeling, just getting comfortable with like adding things to the scene, rendering, figuring out all that stuff. But yeah, you could probably look into that too. There's so many places you can start in Blender because I'm doing geometry nodes right now, but I feel like there's so many different places that you could start. All right, in terms of duplicating these elements, we're duplicating the grid. And it's already being duplicated with the correct sizing. I'm just thinking this through. We're duplicating the points. And then this is like the factor of the offset, which should be the same as what though? Hold on. Oh, it should be, you know what it should be? The amount of pieces divided by the size? Hold on, no. No, because 2.5 divided by 3. Hold on, I think I got it. I think I got it, but let's see. If you divide the size by the amount of pieces, no. Hold on, I'm thinking. I feel like I was onto something there because the size divided by the amount of pieces, but it's really the space in between. So it would actually be, you'd be subtracting, hold on, and then you'd be dividing it by the amount. Okay, so first you subtract it to get the remaining space in between. I think I got this. No, I'm sorry. You need the size of the cube. You want to subtract the size of the cube from the size of the overall grid, and that's the spaces in between. But you need to multiply the cube. You first need to multiply this. Hold on. You need to multiply this by the amount of cubes. That result, you subtract it from the overall size of the grid, and then now you have the spaces in between, and then you have to figure out what to do with that. Let me just see what I'm just curious what happens if I plug that in. Okay, I didn't think that would work. That's because we need to now take that amount and somehow multiply it by 2, I believe. I know this may be hard to follow, but I actually think this might work once I get it. Hold on. Multiply that by 2. Did that work? No, it didn't, but I'm definitely onto something here. Hold on. Take that amount. That's the size. 2.5 times. I think I'm confusing myself, but I think I'm getting closer. Someone help me out here. If you guys want, you don't have to. In order to get the spacing in between, we need to do a little bit of math. But I actually don't know if this right here is taking 0.5. I don't know what it's taking 0.5 of. In fact, I wonder if this actually isn't the most accurate way to do this. I guess there is another way you could do this. You could just take the grid, and instead of maybe duplicating it, you could just, I'm trying to think of how you would space it out evenly. Could you just do a cube and then instance points inside that cube? Let me just try one more approach to this. I want to try one more thing, guys. All right, let's try this real quick. Let's just say we have a cube. I'm going to go into wireframe mode so we can see. Let's subdivide it by 2. And then let's instance on points. Cube. Just want to see what this looks like. I am curious if this would work. Let's unsubdivide. There we go. The only thing is you don't get the center. You won't get the center one right there. So that's one way to do it. Now let's try it one more time. But let's duplicate this. Let's actually do mesh to volume. And then we'll do instance or distribute points in volume on a grid. Awesome. And then let's unsubdivide. The subdivision, I guess, doesn't really matter, does it? I'm wondering here. Density. I want a grid, but I want. Oh, here we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I only want 2, so. Or no, I want 3. So let's copy that. And we have a 3 by 3. And then let's do instance on points. Maybe this is the better way to do it. If it will let me instance anything. There we go. Will this work? Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out. Can you see my message? Hey, bro, can you see my message? Let's see. Yeah, I see your message. The one you just sent? I see the message you just sent just now. All right, there's your 3x3. Now, if you wanted to adjust it, I don't know if that's going to work or not. Let's see. It does kind of work, but then let's use some math here and let's multiply it by 0.9. If this works, this is the most genius way to do this then. There it is, guys. There's your 2x2, there's your 3x3, there's your 4x4, etc., etc. Oh. I may have just crashed Blender. Blender didn't like that. All right. So we can set a limit on that, but how do you set a limit again? Isn't it limit? Is there a limit on here? Is it floor? No, it's ceiling, right? So it can't go above a certain point, right? Or am I tripping? I think it's ceiling. No, not ceiling. Where is it? Where is it? Maximum. We want the maximum to be 0.9. Anything above 0.9. And what is it? Reset. Let's try a maximum to 1. I feel like I'm not using the maximum correctly. Hold on. Definitely not using the maximum correctly. Okay, clearly I'm not good at math nodes, but that's okay. All right, we have a Rubik's Cube generator. Now the question is, can we generate some random colors? Well, of course we can. Let's do that. First of all, let me hide these other two approaches. I think this is the superior approach, if it'll let me click on that. Let's go ahead and bring it to the center. Let's perfectly center it. And let's go. I love doing this, view frame selected. Perfect. All right, so let's just say we wanted this to have like some color to it. Let's go ahead and go to the shading tab. All right, let's go to the material preview, which we're already in, create a new material. I'll call it randomizer. I'll add an attribute node. This will be like what controls what we want to control. And then I believe you can just do, we could do a random hue, or we could pick from multiple colors. So let's do a factor into a color ramp, plug it in here. And then what we'll do is we'll do object, and we'll call this random. And then we can basically, well, let me assign this real quick. Set the material to randomizer. So now what we can do is, I believe if you go to constant, you can like set up different color swatches. Hold on, let's do red. This isn't gonna look like anything yet until we really set it up. And then we'll do, I don't know, green, right? There's green on a Rubik's Cube. And then there's yellow. I would know this because I have a Rubik's Cube right here. We got blue. All right, let's just start with those colors so we can see if it's working. All right, so we're gonna need to use the stored named attribute, and we'll call this randomizer, or was it random? What did I call it? I called it random. And then we just have to, I believe we can just do a Boolean. Sorry, random value, and we'll do Boolean probability right here. And then we have to make a selection, which is going to be the mesh island, I believe. Or I guess technically it's an instance. Let me just see if this works if I do instance here. It's weird, it doesn't. Oh, I didn't realize the instances either. Let's see if this works first. Kind of trying to remember how to do this. Let's do realize instances. There we go. And this should work. I believe that's how you do it. Oh my God. I'm getting a little rusty here, guys, with my geometry nodes. There we go. Okay, so now we can control what's what here. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why I didn't remember to do that right away. So stored name attribute, random value, island index, which is going to choose one of these at random. And then boom, you have randomization for your colors. Of course, this isn't going to be accurate because as you mix a Rubik's Cube up, there's only so many ways it can like actually look. Like this corner would always be that corner. It would never change. The location can change, but the corner itself cannot change. So really what you would want to do is float, I guess you could do face, random value of a face, but that's not island index. But that should work. Okay, it does work. All right, so there you go, random value of a face. Again, this is not technically accurate, but if we have our Rubik's Cube generator, let me just pull a Rubik's Cube up. Rubik's Cube colors. It's like I don't even remember what colors there are now. Okay, we have, come on. This thing really doesn't want to let me like, oh, there we go. Okay, so we have white. Oh, I'm missing white. Duh. Need white. All right, so we have white on there. Let's just bring these all close together. There we go. We have white, yellow, green, red, blue, and we need orange. Where's orange at? Yeah, awesome. I also think I'm going to add another one with white because I want white to kind of like appear more. I don't want it to appear too much. Can I spread? Isn't there a way to spread all these out evenly? Oh my god. Distribute stops evenly. There we go. Except for they're not really showing up evenly either. So let's go back to geometry nodes and let's take a look here. Ah, there we go. All right, so because I guess factor is 0 to 1. So yeah, by the way, for Lewis who's just dropping in, we are making a random Rubik's Cube generator. And what's fun about this, even though this isn't necessarily the best way to do it, is we can actually adjust the size of the Rubik's Cube here. The real question is, how do you bevel the edges right here? Also, the spacing is basically this. So if we want to do like 0.98, real close, we can do that. I am curious though, how do we bevel these? Is there a way to bevel in geometry nodes? Because I don't think there is. If I remember correctly, it's not easy. Like there's some really weird way to do it. Let's just see. Let's see what our first result brings. There's no bevel node. I'm pretty sure there's no bevel node though. Attribute. Oh my god. Vertex bevel? No, I just wanted like a regular bevel. If anybody knows how to do a regular bevel, that would be huge because, like I said, if I remember correctly, it's an absolute pain to do a bevel. Now, the workaround is we can just add it right here. I don't particularly like this approach, but because I want it to be all procedural at the end of the day. Could do that, add a few segments, and call it a day. Add our area light, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to set up a quick scene here, guys. Oh, also, we could procedurally make a floor that snaps to the bottom of the cube. That could be a cool way to use geometry nodes. Always thinking of new ways here, guys. Always thinking of new ways. Let's get an HDRI here. Why don't we? Ugh, not my favorite. You know what my favorite HDRI has always been? Is this one right here, the Peppermint Power Plant. I don't know why. I just really am fond of this one. All right, I'm going to make like a darker floor, and then I think what I'm going to do is just set up like a nice camera, and let's see what we can make this thing look like. I want my camera to be from like this angle up here, and then I want to scale everything out. I want my camera to be, dare I say, orthographic. And if I really want to, I can do -3, -3, and 2.5. and then a nice little 45, actually, what is it, 52.7 degree angle. That's perfect orthographic angle, 0 and negative 45. Now, we'll have to raise this up a little bit to kind of center our composition here. We'll enable depth of field, of course. Now, here's what's really cool. In solid view, you can actually, solid view, you can enable depth of field as well, so that you can then take your camera and you can adjust it before you go into rendered view. So I'll just go in here and I will adjust the focal distance. And I'll go some crazy value here. You know what? Maybe we don't do orthographic. Maybe we do perspective. Whoa. Let's do an 85mm lens with some crazy depth of field here. I'm talking crazy, guys. It's going to let me do it. There we go. I guess that's not that crazy. Let's make it crazier because we can. Very cool. And then, of course, we're going to... Do we want to raise the roughness, or do we want a nice glossy floor there? So cool. And then we can go in and we can generate a random version of this Rubik's Cube. Again, this is not technically a Rubik's Cube because it's it is instancing on all the points, like in a grid, in a distribute volume or whatever. But remember, like the corner of a Rubik's Cube, like this part right here, this is not going to be something that can change. So like blue, red, and yellow, those three cannot change. They have to be in that exact spot at all times. Although it can change like this, it just can't change where it is on the corner. So technically this approach is not accurate, but still pretty cool. Let's go ahead and see if we can make the material a little bit more realistic. Let's go over to our shading tab. I'm going to go to rendered view, and I'm going to do some like random roughness on this bad boy. Just bring this down a little bit. This can be pretty simple. We're just going to plug this into a color ramp and then a noise texture. And I think I will switch to material preview just for this because I want to make sure I can quickly see what this looks like. Okay. I'm going to crunch these a little bit so I can kind of start to see where that difference is. I'm going to bring the roughness up and the detail. So now you can kind of see there's this like roughness pattern on here. That's kind of like exactly what I'm looking for. And then to make it more like it's been like touched a couple times with like a fingerprint or something like that, we can scale this down a little bit. You can also mess with the distortion a little bit. I'll do a detail level of 3. I just kind of want to see what this looks like real quick. Starting to get there. It's a little bit unrealistic, so let me go back to material preview. I'm going to bump up this scale a lot. I'm going to get rid of the distortion. I actually think it hurt the effect a little bit. Also going to shade this smooth. Why won't it shade smooth? Shading. Where is smooth shade? I thought I enabled smooth shading. No? Okay, maybe I didn't. Shade smooth. Okay, it doesn't want to shade smooth. Whatever. Okay, what was I doing here, guys? I'm getting confused. Okay, there we go. That looks a little bit better. It's still not quite where I want it, though. Oh, also, I guess we should mix this with a glossy. I'll do a mix shader. Glossy BSDF. I'll plug in the same colors. And roughness. Wait, why does that look so weird? What the heck's going on there with that? Throw roughness to 0. Just want to see what this looks like in rendered view. And not really what I'm looking for. What's the scale set on this thing? Oh, that's a little bit better. I just want it to be just ever so slightly glossy. I guess we don't have to do a glossy BSDF. We could just go here to the, where is it, sheen, I think? Not sheen, no, coat. Is it coat? That looks good. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. It just gives like a little bit of variation. Now, if you wanted it to really be like fingerprints, you could like find a fingerprint texture and kind of work on that. Let's make this a little bit more procedural, shall we? This looks cool so far, though. Are you guys digging this? I like it. I think it looks awesome. What the heck, bro? Where is my GeoNode setup? Oh, right. You have to click on the modifier. Duh. All right. So we have the modifier. So right here, guys, this value is basically what's controlling like the size of the Rubik's Cube. I wish there was a way to like just say how many, like what size you wanted this to be. Because like now that it's bigger, you actually want the bevel to be a little bit more intense, right? Because that's going to be the more realistic bevel for that size Rubik's Cube. But yeah, this is how you adjust it right here. 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, blah, blah, blah. Yo. Oh my God. That's so cool. The only problem with this too is I forget which way was the normal way for the Rubik's Cube. Like, was it a lower value is more cubes, or was it a greater value is more cubes? I think it's a lower value. So as you can see, I've successfully frozen Blender again. Don't you just hate the spinning wheel? Like, I hate the spinning wheel. I can't stand it. What's going on here? We're going to have to force quit Blender. I really don't want to have to do this. Now, luckily, I've been saving it. So let's see if we can X out of all this nonsense. Okay. Are we back? We're back. We are back, baby. All right, so that looks a little bit better. All right, how about should we make like a procedural floor too? Shall we? All right, so I have my floor plane selected, and we're just gonna make like a nice like little procedural brick texture floor. Something simple. Plug that into the color. We'll do 0 offset, and we'll do 0.2 by 0.2. Now for the mortar size, I'll go ahead and scale that down quite a bit. How about 0.001? That looks pretty good. I'm going to copy all 3 of these colors, and then the mortar will make that like a light gray kind of color. You can see we already kind of have this really cool effect, and then we can just scale our grid floor. Now, one of the cool things you can do with this grid floor, can you guys still see that? Yeah. You can actually take your factor and plug it into a bump node, plug that into the normal, or I'm sorry, into the height of the bump and then the normal. And then what you can do, where is it, the color? It's really hard to see here. There you go, now you can kind of see like a close-up of this. You have to go to mortar smooth. There we go. When you raise this value, you kind of get that little groove, and then you can adjust the strength right here. So you can just do a very subtle, like 0.15 strength. And you kind of get something that's like actually a grid floor. So you kind of have some actual depth to it. That looks really cool. Let's admire our work for a minute here. Let's turn the overlays off. I realize my face on here is huge, so let me go ahead and shrink that down. Let's admire for a minute. This just looks really nice. Just like really pleased with like how this turned out. It's a simple render. It's nothing too crazy, but I do enjoy it. Anybody else just kind of sit back sometimes and admire their work? And this is not, like I said, this is not anything crazy advanced. We're just having fun. You know, we're just creating things that are fun and procedural, which is really the best part, because like the way I think of like proceduralism is it's like really just all a bunch of math. Right? At the end of the day, there's no textures that I've loaded into this, right? I didn't download anything and put it in here. It's all just nodes connected to other nodes, hence the Node Dojo, right? Another tip I will be stealing. Awesome. How much VRAM? Well, I have a GeForce RTX 3070 Ti. I don't know how much video RAM I have. I do not know, my friend. Either way, this looks awesome, and I'm super happy with it. I do think we could probably adjust the shader a little bit, so let's just mess around with that just a little bit more. I think it's just, maybe it's just the color ramp that's like throwing me off. Is it the color ramp? Is it the roughness value, the detail value? I can't really tell. Something's like throwing me off about it though. That looks a little bit better. Let me show you guys a really cool thing. We'll go into some more tips and tricks with nodes. Now this time we are going to download an image texture. So let me just show you guys. I'm going to make a new document. We're going to kind of abandon this for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and add a sphere. And we'll just give this like a subdiv. Shaded smooth. Go to the shading tab. Make a new material. I'll just give this like a high metallic, and then it'll just get a environment texture in here. Now I want to show you guys a really cool trick, because let's just say you have this right here. I'm gonna turn the background transparent, and you want to put like a fingerprint on this, right? You want it to be like very apparent. I just want to show you like kind of how easy that is. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to look up fingerprint on a black background, find one that you like. Let's go with this one. Let's see. This is pretty much perfect. Go ahead and save the image. Save it to your downloads, doesn't matter. Add an image texture in here. And then you're going to find your image, just somewhere in here. You got to get rid of a few of those folders. Plug it into your roughness, and then you're going to want to add a color ramp as well so we can control it. And then what you want to do is add some mapping. You want to add texture coordinate. Plug everything in as follows. Now you probably noticed like kind of went away. It is still there. I'm going to show you guys how to like liven it up a little bit. What you want to do is you want to go to your scale and plug in a value node there. And then you can kind of adjust it from here. You can adjust like kind of like, well, first of all, it's going to repeat because we have it set to repeat. And you also notice how it kind of stretches. If you don't want that to happen, I believe you can go here to flat and do sphere. I believe that should work. Then you can just adjust your scaling as much as you need to. And you kind of have a slight fingerprint on there. It's nothing too crazy. Let's go ahead and adjust that. There we go. If you need to, you can invert the colors as well. Let's see if we can get a good result here. I've gotten this to work very well before. It doesn't seem like it wants to work too well right now. Let's see. Oh, you can also adjust the location of it too. Probably want it to be somewhere where it's not going to be directly like projected onto the sphere. Rotation, yep, there's your rotation. I'm trying to rotate it in a way that makes sense. Oh my goodness, this is not working out. That's kind of it, more or less. Anyway, that's not perfect, but you can kind of see, you can see the edges there. That's controlled by this. You also want this to be, you want this to be non-color. And then you can kind of adjust it here. That's a little bit better. It's not perfect, but you get the point. It's kind of how you would project, like, not project, but that's how you would put something on an object. And it does work with any image. It doesn't have to be a texture. Like, I'll just slap a random image on there to show you what that looks like. Let's try this VHS thing. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. So, like, I love messing around with image nodes, too, because as soon as you plug an image node in, you kind of get these really weird results. Let's see what else we got. Oh, here we go. This is kind of like a grunge concrete texture. But if you flip it, you can kind of get this grunge effect. Yeah, like that. How cool is that? So maybe you have like a rusty marble. And if you really wanted to, you could do a mixed color. You could overlay your color. Maybe you want like a brown color. You could try overlaying it, or I guess vice versa. Doesn't want to work. Color overlay. Oh, we have to plug it into the color. Sorry guys, forgot. There we go. So if you want to have like this kind of grunge overlay, you can do that. There we go. And you want to split that up. You want the overlay to be just for the color. And then you can adjust the factor too. It's too saturated. Pull the saturation down a little bit. And you might even be able to do your own color ramp for this part too. You can kind of get this, you might even be able to get this like kind of fake copper look. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, like this kind of grungy copper. It's kind of cool looking. Just an easy way to like randomize this. Do you have a Twitch? Or do you not have that much time to stream? I used to have my own Twitch, but I just mainly stream on cgcookie. For now, I have time to stream until this baby gets here. I am currently waiting on my wife to go into labor. Kind of a funny thing to share. But yeah, I'm kind of just waiting on that. So at this point, we're just kind of streaming. I'm a teacher, so I have off in the summers, which is really nice. How cool is that you can just plop those textures on there? Let's try, I want to try the fingerprint again. I just want to see what it looks like. Okay, so that's because we have the values flipped. But isn't that neat that you guys can just literally plop any texture? Let me try another one. I have like, guys, I have so many textures we can try out on this. This was actually a texture I made with AI, which is kind of funny. Hold on, let me try a different one. Let me try one that I know will work really well, or at least I think might work really well. Let's look through these. Oh, this one might work. This is actually a video though, so I don't know that it's gonna work. Yeah, no, it's not gonna work. Although you can mess with videos in the shader editor, so there's no limitations to that. Whoa. That's kind of cool looking. Ooh, I wonder what would happen if we plug this into a bump node. Plug it into the height. So it's a little shaky. You can see if you zoom in, it's kind of like shaky like that. And I wonder if that's because we need to adjust our color ramp. Make it a little smoother here of a transition. Strength is pretty high. We could probably dumb that down a little bit. I'm looking here, trying to see what this looks like. This is kind of cool though, because like this gives you an idea of like, okay, now you have this texture that is also kind of like some slight fake displacement, which is really cool. Let me try that. I want to try that other image that we had earlier though. Or was it? Oh, this one. Yeah. How cool is that? So like we took an image, right? And you can generate, what's cool now is that you don't have to worry about like the licensing and stuff. You can just take an image that you generated with like ChatGPT, or you go outside, you take an image of your concrete, slap that into Blender, and now you have something that looks kind of like this. That's like a pretty legit material. Like I don't really know what this is, but remember you can adjust the scale right here. So if the scale is not enough, you can adjust it. Now you have something that looks like this. You can also adjust your bump a little bit. Hold on. But look at that, guys. How powerful is that? Oh, you don't want it to be like orange or whatever? Make it another color. You can make some abstract sci-fi material. Let me just say material, and then I'm going to say experimentation. How cool is that, guys? You guys want to keep trying some more of these? Because I kind of want to experiment a little bit. We can even download some offline, but I'm just going to go through my downloads. Oh, this is a circuit board. Whoa. Same setup, too. To smooth this out, I want to say there's a way to do that. Let me see if I can remember. That's one way to kind of do it. You just adjust the other color. Instead of having like a solid white, you can do like a gray. How cool is that, guys? We have this like circuit board on here. How neat is that? I wonder what would happen. I'm just curious if we just plug the color in and we left the bump. Let me see what our value is here. Okay. How freaking cool is that? Circuit board. Boom. Let's do a few more. Again, could do this all day. What's this one? Oh, that's another video. That's a pretty nice way to get a circuit board detail without modeling. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what we're going for here. This is like wood. Again, the roughness is a little intense. You have to like adjust that as you see fit. Why is it not? Oh, because we're not. Wait a second. That's weird. All right, not every image is going to work exactly the way you want it to, and that's totally okay. We're going to keep going here. Ooh, this is a fun one. This is a nice little grunge texture. Look at that. I mean, I'll be totally honest, that looks like in front of my eyes right now, even though I'm on a 4K display right here with like some pretty good detail, this looks pretty legit. Like it looks good enough to render. And we haven't even really set up any materials. It's just an HDRI. Like this, I might do a whole, I could just do a whole session just on like plopping these image textures. I mean, this is a free image you can get online. You know what I mean? Like let's go to, I'm going to go to one of my sites that I usually go to. It's called Unsplash. I'm just going to type in texture. I'm going to pull this screen up in just a second here. So when we go and we type in texture, let's just scroll through here and kind of see what they have. That one would work really nice. Usually the ones with more contrast work really well because black and white like pixel data is kind of like what Blender works with. I'm going to try that one. So let's download that one. Ooh, that's like a dust. That's locked, but that's a cool one. Let's see what else they have. That's a good one right there. And let's do like one more. God, there's so many. There's just so many options. Ooh, that one's locked. Of course it's locked. All the good ones are locked. Let's try. Ooh, that's denim. That would be kind of fun to try. Ooh, there's this like cracked landscape. Let's try that. And then this one's locked. That pebbles, that would have worked literally perfectly. Hey, hold on, guys. One more. What's one more we can do? Hold on. That one's cool. Again, we're kind of looking for like a flat image. This one's pretty solid. That's going to come out really cool. Is that water drops? That would be interesting to try. All right. We're trying more than I had expected, but we're going to try all of them. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Let's plop the first ones in. I'm going to sort this by modified date. It's annoying because it's showing all the folders first. I don't know why it does that. All right, so this is our first one. This is the water droplets. Not bad. Not really what I'm looking for. It looks realistic if you zoom out. Ooh, this is that scratched surface one. Just go ahead and see this. I'm trying to see how we can manipulate this. You can see it's not bad. Again, you probably have to mess with the value of like the actual size of it, right? Especially because you're gonna get some clipping. Like remember, we're not doing like UV mapping here. We're really just slapping textures on things and kind of seeing what happens. Ooh, this is like a cracked earth. Whew. Let's scale this up a little bit. Oh. There we go. That doesn't look bad. That doesn't look bad at all. It's a little bit distorted because we don't have like a UV map, but it looks good. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is a nice one. This is like a scratch surface. So like maybe if you wanted to do like a pool ball, this would kind of work really well for that. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, this one's cool. This one did not come out like I expected, actually. Although maybe I can reverse it. Not like I expected, but that's okay. I want to go back to this like cracked earth one. This one was just, there's something really cool about this one, especially because like I'm getting some highlights up here. Whew. So nice. Wow. That looks really good. You don't want to do overkill on the bump, though, the bump node. And you have your scale, of course. Don't want to overdo it on that either. I guess we could try to like unwrap this real quick if we wanted to. Should we try to go and unwrap this thing? Where's oh, we gotta go into edit mode, UV, what is it? Smart UV project? I forget what it is. Unwrap. Oh, sphere projection. Let's do that. There we go. Did that work? I guess it kind of worked. Where's our UV editor? There it is. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I don't really remember how to do some of this stuff. I'll be totally honest with you guys. I normally don't, I don't know, I don't mess around with this stuff too much. Like, I don't know, is that right? I don't freaking know. It's like weird because it does still want to like stretch a little bit. Oh, here we go. Wait. Let's do it like that. How does that look? Oh my god. There we go. That's weird. It's like still kind of like scaled in a weird way. What did I do? UV project? Let me see. Is there other better projection methods? I usually don't like. The heck kind of weird thing is that? UV angle based? UV conformal, UV light map pack. Oh, no. UV sphere projection. There we go. I can't even tell what angle I'm looking at this thing from. That's a pretty nice way to get a circuit board detail without modeling it. Oh, yeah. Let's go back to that, actually, real quick, because that was a fun one. Where was that thing? That thing was way down here. See, I don't even remember what I was using that circuit board for. Oh my god, we're so far down. Wait, is this where I had the circuit board? I don't remember if we were that down this far. My god. Wait. I'll see it. It'll catch my eye, I think. I feel like it was around here, though. Oh, here it is. Let's see. All right. I liked it better with just generated. There we go. All right, let's go back to our height map. Our like bump map here. Better. That looks pretty good. It'd be cool to make a procedural version of that, wouldn't it? And we could do that. I think you could probably just do that by like generating random curves, placing them on a surface, and then like adding those little I guess solder points. Am I saying that right? Solder? Probably be saying that wrong all day now. Solder? Like solder and pepper? Nah, that can't be right. Okay. So I'm trying to imagine if we wanted to create something like this, how would we do that? I do feel like you could use the shortest edge path type thing for this, and then just like randomly generate curves, or you could. Man, how would you do this? Or is it better to just do something like this with like shader nodes? I don't know. Part of me is like, first of all, probably already exist, but like, second of all, do I want to get into a project like that? Because that's like a whole nother, that's a whole nother thing. Although we are on the Node Dojo, so who's to say we can't do it? Oh man, looking back at some of these projects, these were so much fun. I love looking back on old projects. So many cool things that I've created, but also that you guys have like helped me create. Like a lot of this was inspired by user suggestions. Most of it was. Oh, here's a cool one. Hoo-hoo-hoo. Very cool, very cool. We were far down there, man. Where were we? Right about, oh man, we weren't even halfway. Guys, we weren't even halfway. Whoa, what is this? Oh, this is some kind of like stardust or something. Were we about halfway there? Guys, looking at these old projects, does anybody love looking at their old projects? Me personally, I love it. Whoa. Oh, that's cool. And that's just like an image of like a rainbow like texture. What's the, this is probably a good way to get an idea of what this scaling's like actually doing. So cool. What's this image called? This image is called BD blah blah blah. What's this one? So cool. I'm not sure. This might be the most interesting thing we've done all day. I'm not sure why, but that's very like, I don't know. That's appealing looking. There's a lot of colors going on there. All right. I'll show you guys a cool render that I was making that maybe we'll cover like maybe tomorrow if we don't have this baby by then. Let me just see something real quick. Let's see some old projects here. Oh man. Oh, these were so cool. There was I was involved with a lot of client projects. Well, not as much anymore, but do I miss client projects? That's a tough thing to answer. I would say, I know I'm literally talking to myself, but like I feel like I don't miss client projects because they were kind of a pain for the most part. But they were also a lot of fun and they were good money. But I don't know. I like creating freely with no, like zero intentions, just like creating. I don't know. This is a cool texture. It's frost. Some kind of frost. Jack Frost? Okay, let's see. How can we... Tell you what, the bump map really does it. So cool. Nice. Look at that. That's cool. This is kind of, this was the texture I used on, I had this like cup that had frost on the bottom and like condensation. I believe that's what I used this texture for originally. Again, like when you look back, like you never think about what's going to affect what. This is a leaf texture. I wonder if we pull that image in here. Can I go back to the layout? If we pull that image in here, I just wonder, what if we cut that out, made it look like a hyper-realistic leaf, and then instance it onto something? Where's that thing? Let's see. This is the leaf. Like, could we cut around this and model it? I don't know. Could we? Guess we could. Actually, you know, I probably would just... How would I do this? I guess I could just go into, like, while I'm in edit mode. How did I do this last time? I'm trying to remember now. Let's unsubdivide it. Edge unsubdivide. I feel like last time I just kind of pulled these in, right? Wait, hell did I do this? What am I thinking? Let's do this. Let's do plane. Scale it down. And then let's model it based on like this edge here. We'll add a subdiv at some point and kind of mess around with that. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Hello, brother. Make a unique sword. You're obsessed with the sword, man. What's up with the sword? Did you just get to the live stream, or are you running late? Let me just see what this makes of it. It's not the best looking leaf, but it works. Oof. All right, I just want to see what a subdiv would do to this. Okay. I'm just getting it as close as possible, like nothing too crazy. I know the topology's not good. I know. Everyone's going to say it. Go for it. Do your worst. Wait a second. And there's your leaf. And then I guess we can just take this texture and apply it. I don't know. Let's try it. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Let me just do this. UV, I don't know, like unwrap. No, let me do UV conformal. That's fine. That's better. Okay. I'm not sure why, but that like just absolutely cracked me up. Or is my picture? That's not it. That's not it either. There it is. Okay. All right. Not perfect. All right. View from z-axis. Oh, is that the UV you're saying? Oh, you're saying go to that view and then do UV project from view. Ah, you know, you're a smart guy. Now that is what I'm talking about. Where was I even going with this? Oh yeah, I wanted to plug this into the roughness, the color ramp. And then I think we're going to have to get rid of this nonsense over here. I thought I had the transparency here. Oh, I do have transparency. Aha. All right, so let's say we have this thing. I'm thinking we make some sort of like whimsical, a bunch of these floating in the air. What do you guys think? I feel like that could be pretty cool. I do want to plug this into a bump node. Smart man, Mr. Blend Mesh. I didn't think of it. Looks horrible. It's okay, we're going to fix it with a color ramp. and how it looks perfect. No, it actually looks really, really bad. Why does it look that bad? Oof. Do I have lighting in my scene? I have an HDRI, right? Okay, I do. Let me go back because this is like now destroyed. What did I do here though? We'll come back to that. Oh, you know what, guys? We'll just add our own noise texture. Duh. Scale it up. And dumb down the strength a little bit. Scale it up a lot. Roughness. Distortion? We want distortion? I feel like we want 100 for this. Roughness, we'll keep it high. Distortion 0. And then I want the strength to be like 0.2. Maybe a little bit higher. Like just ever so slightly visible. Does this need to be remeshed? I don't know. This looks cool so far though. So like I guess what we could do now, just want to try something here. I want to try to make a loop cut in the middle. Because this is kind of where like part of our physics will happen here. All right, so let's try a couple things here. Well, first of all, let's move this down. There we go. You can make a bunch of leaves flying around with the wind and turbulence. Yep, that's actually exactly what I was going to do. Might come in handy when making a close-up ground scene with the leaves fly. Yeah. So let's first of all go to our physics properties. I'm going to just turn gravity to 0. And then I'm going to go to my leaf, and I am going to do cloth. Press play and nothing happens. Perfect. And I want to go ahead and do a force field. And I just want to see if anything happens. It's moving a little bit. Let's set this to 10. Should be moving away. It is. Let's set this to 50. I'm kind of just playing with the values here. Awesome. So we have our leaf that's kind of like moving around. Is it moving like a cloth? It is. Awesome. Okay, so it's moving like a cloth. Let's set the mass to like 0.1 for the vertices. And then let's see. I want to have collisions. We'll come back to that. I just want to see what this looks like. I want to add turbulence. I'll just set the turbulence to 5. Cool so far. Lower the direct light clamping may work with the fireflies. Direct light clamping should be in here. Direct light, direct light. That's a little bit better, I think. I think it's slightly better. Let's subdivide this a little bit more because I want it to react a little bit more with the force fields. Awesome. Okay, force. I'm going to set that to 100. I want to see how this thing is bending. I want to see if it's like bending in the middle too. Not too much. Is there a way to make this thing have less or have more bending? How stiff, how much it resists bending? I don't want it to resist bending as much. There we go. Now it's really moving. Awesome. Okay. Make the direct like 1 and the indirect 10. Oh, wow. That significantly improved it. Thank you. I don't normally mess with those settings, but that was actually a very handy tip. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go back to our physics, and now let's take a look at the bending. We did that. Let's do 0.2. kind of waving around there. Turbulence could probably be a little bit higher, like 100. Let's see what happens. This thing's about to go crazy. Not too bad. Not too bad. It doesn't seem to be wanting to be affected too much. Air normally has thickness when slowing things down. Let's put the viscosity of the air at like almost 0. Now this thing's moving. This is starting to look like something kind of cool. Very cool. Okay. I want to see something. All right, how much it resists shearing, compression, tension. Okay. All right, let's add another one of these. Just want to see what's going to happen. Very cool. Okay. Now let's take these and scale them down a little bit. Duplicate them. Let's press play. Let's just see what happens. Kind of all over the place. I wonder what would happen if we turned, well, we need self-collision, right? Or not self-collision, we need to have this be a collider as well. Collision, and then I want to see if we set the force field to a negative value, like negative 100, and we have 2 of these, like would they collide together? And if so, like how would they collide together? Let's set them a little bit closer at first. Why is everything moving so slow? Let's rotate them a little bit. I just want to see if they like collide together. Apply the scale. Oh, pfft. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh. Well, they are getting collision. That's great, but they're crumpling a little bit here. We don't want that. You really want me to make this sword? Oh Lord. Okay. All right. I will make a unique sword. Or at least I'll try to make a unique sword. We'll do a little bit of modeling. Maybe we can come back to this the next live stream, but I do think this is pretty cool so far. Again, we're kind of just doing whatever. Like I said, this is kind of your live stream, guys. You get to decide what we create today. This is something to definitely revisit. We kind of did a couple of different things here with like the UV mapping and stuff with the leaf. So let's go ahead and make a new project. I will make the sword. Let me just find a sword reference. Do you have a specific sword in mind, my friend, or did you want any sword? Does it matter? A unique sword? That's a cool one. This could be a good modeling challenge. Let me just see. Oh, there's some really interesting ones on there. Do you want it? Why don't you, I'll tell you what, camera, why don't you pick one out? I got to use the restroom real quick anyway. And when I come back, if you have one picked out, I'll try to model that one, okay? Sound good? All right, I'll be right back. 1 second, guys. All right. Okay. All right. So what is it called? A barbarian sword. Barbarian sword. Oh, Clash of Clans. Oh. Okay. Let's take a look. Wife is back home. All right. Let me look at this sword. We got to find a good reference here if we're going to go off a reference. Let's see. Let's see what they have. Oh, that's a cool one. Make like a hyper realistic version of this. I feel like if we're going to do this, let's like take this and then make it to the next level. Let me see the one they actually have in the game. It's like pretty simple for the most part. Do they have a better view of this thing? I feel like that's a pretty good reference right there. All right. Okay, we'll make it. We can do this. Let me just take a look at any other references. All right, we're going to use this reference. I'm going to put Blender on the right and the reference on the left. There we go. Okay, let's do it. All right, so when we look at this sword, I feel like I would already kind of know how to start on this. I think I'm going to start with let's start with a cube. Okay, and let's take the cube, scale it out on the X, scale it down, subdivide it. Okay, I'm going to take all these points here and scale them down for the tip of the sword. Actually, first I am going to... Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to extrude this, scale it down. This is the tip of the sword. And then I'm going to probably just like raise this. Like that. Yep. So let's go ahead and SZ. Like that. Take everything, scale it down a little bit. Again, I'm taking this loop cut, scaling it, taking these, scaling them down a significant portion. And now I feel like we kind of have this. It needs to be a little bit longer. I feel like we have the main result that we're looking for here. That looks pretty good. Let's also take this loop cut. Let's scale that a little bit. Because I want, well, actually, hold on. Actually, you know what I'll do? No. I will take these faces here. And this is just the faces on the sides. And I'll scale them on the Z. Like that. Perfect. All right. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go ahead and save this and just call it sword. Keep it simple, right? Why does every Blender YouTuber name themselves? I mean, so they have a name? I don't know. I guess just they have a YouTube name. I realize now, guys, I'm sorry. The picture is not like all the way down here, so let me do that. There we go. All right, so there's a picture. All right, so let's go ahead and make this like handle part here. I think what I'll do is I will first make a cube. I will move it on the X, scale it down, go to the top-down view, move it, and then I think I'll start to like shape out what this is going to look like. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think I'm just going to go ahead and scale it down to about the right size, and then I'll probably subdivide it a couple times. I will take the X-ray mode here, take these points on the sides, scale them down like so. Okay, and now that we have this like general shape, I kind of want to remesh it, and then I think we can curve it using the curve modifier. Well, let me go ahead and first go ahead and do a generate bevel, and then I'll do a generate remesh. We'll do smooth with a few voxel counts. That looks good. Just go ahead and bevel this more. And then I want to add a deform, and I'll do simple deform. And we'll do a bend on the, actually we'll do a twist. Not twist, what would that be? Taper? Stretch? in the world would you call that? Oh wait, we could just use a we could what am I thinking? What's it called? Lattice? Can't you do like a lattice deform? Let's add a lattice. Where's our lattice? There we go. Okay, scale our lattice up. I'm pretty sure this is how you do this. Okay, there we go. Scale it down. And I think we can apply our lattice to this object. I'm pretty sure. Because if we do a lattice modifier, generate, or no, where is it? Lattice. And then we make this our lattice. And then I just forget, do you have to just like, oh yeah, so if you move everything, we can do like proportional editing here. And what I'll do is in edit mode, I'll just do, I don't know, like this top face. Or we can deform the whole lattice and stretch it out. Please tell me a sword solo living anime, please. What? Guys, you got to be a little more specific with what you're asking. I have no idea what you're talking about. Let me just see something. If we take the center, like, let me just go to this angle. There we go. Let's just say we take the center, almost the center point here, turn on proportional editing. That's pretty much what I'm looking for. I'm also going to take the other center point on the other side, which I believe is in this row. It is right there. So that when we move them, they kind of move together. Let me look at the proportional. Ooh, let's try sphere. Ooh, that's it. Perfect. Boom. Thoughts, guys? I feel like that's more or less the general shape. And maybe these sides could come out more, I don't know. Oh, we want to take proportional editing off. What do you think? I feel like that looks pretty good. And we could smooth it out even more. We could go ahead and do a smooth corrective, and then we could do like a repeat of 10, only smooth. Kind of like really smooth that out, and then we could shade smooth. Thoughts, guys? Maybe a little bit bigger. What does everyone think so far? Pretty good? Oh, I see. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and scale a cylinder down. We're going to rotate it on the x-axis here. And then we're going to make like this little, whatever you want to call this. I'm also going to try, this thing doesn't pop up again. I'm going to try my best to try to like just eyeball it. It's probably not going to be perfect by any means, but we're going to try it. Okay. Let's go ahead and do GX. All right, so I'm just probably going to do like some like editing where you kind of just extrude and scale. So I'll probably just go ahead and start right here. Extrude, scale, extrude, scale, extrude, all the way down here. Maybe extrude again. Scale, extrude, extrude, scale, extrude, scale, extrude. I feel like that's more or less it. And then just add a edge split and a subdiv. And shade smooth. And that's it. I feel like that's more or less the sword. Oh, you know what? I forgot. We have this chunk we gotta take out of it. That's my fault. Just add a cube here. Go ahead and like bring it over here. Rotate it a little bit. We gotta take a chunk out of it. What is it, like right here? I say we just use a Boolean modifier. I feel like that's the easiest way to do it. And yeah, let's just do that. Let's go ahead and add a Boolean modifier. And we will use this cube. And that's it. It looks like the cube might stick out a little bit more. Maybe like right there. Thoughts on that? I feel like that's more or less it. Like, and then I guess we can do texturing now. All right, everybody, thoughts so far? Is everybody happy with this so far? Let's go ahead and get into some texturing, but first we're going to need some lighting on our scene, so let's just go ahead and slap an HDRI on this bad boy. That looks fine. Go to shading, set the film transparency. I just want to see just the sword. Awesome. So we have our sword. Let's start out with this yellow part here. Well, let's go ahead and make that yellow. I guess it's more of like a gold. We can make that more of like a gold. And let's just give it like a bumpy texture. It looks like it's kind of just like this metallic thing with like a lower roughness, maybe like 0.25. But then it has like this bump to it. So let's go ahead and add a bump. And let's go ahead and plug that into the normal. Noise texture right into the height. And then we'll just do mapping and we'll do a texture coordinate too. It's going to look a little weird at first until we figure out the scale of everything. Let's just do the object. Yeah, that's fine. Scaling looks a little bit weird. We'll fix that. Perfect. We'll scale this up a bunch. That looks good. And then we'll adjust the strength to like 0.2 maybe. It looks like it's this kind of like gold texture, but I actually think the roughness might be a little bit higher. It's tough to like pinpoint the exact, like I don't really know what this texture would actually look like. Although, if it's going to be, if we're going to do this, let's try a Voronoi texture actually. Position. What am I plugging in here? Oh, there we go. All right, so like with the Voronoi texture, it's kind of like more of this like gold effect, and I feel like it looks pretty cool. Okay. That looks cool. That's kind of what I was going for. That's it. Boom. All right, next up, we have the metal, which is the actual blade itself. Of course, it's going to be metallic with a lower roughness, but we do want to add some noise to this, and we want to have some variation to our roughness. So let's go ahead and add a color ramp. Plug it into the roughness, and we're going to do mapping as well, and a texture coordinate. Let's plug in our generated here. Let's just see what we get so far. Let's try object. That's better. Okay, now let's go ahead and see if we can make this look kind of like galvanized steel, actually. So actually, let's do Voronoi. Actually, we're going to do Voronoi and we're going to do noise. So I want the Voronoi first. There we go. I want to plug in my distance to the vector. Let's switch these. There we go. Okay, so I want my Voronoi to be like that, noise to be high up. Whew. We can make it look like, you know, we can make it look like Valerian steel. You know what I'm talking about, guys, from Mandalorian? We don't have to, but it's just something we could do. It already looks really cool. But I actually think the scale should be larger. And the roughness should be higher for these two. Not digging the result. Should we just try the noise texture real quick? Crap. Just want to see something here. There we go. That's kind of what I was looking for. I want the detail to be very high. Roughness to be high. I guess scale higher. That doesn't look terrible. Thoughts on that, guys? It's not terrible. I feel like we need to see this on like a dark background, so I'm just going to quickly make a dark background. Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit easier to read now. And by read, I mean like get an idea of like what it looks like. There we go. All right, thoughts so far? Someone said good? Okay, good. All right, so we have our metal. I do still think I'm not like 100% happy with this, so hold on. I don't know. It looks good. I'm not 100% happy, but I guess it'll have to do for now. Okay, so we have our gold, we have our like metal, and now we need like this like plastic leather material. Like I don't really know what this is, but we'll just go ahead and like choose this kind of color here. And then I guess we can kind of do something similar. Maybe what we can do is like a let's try this. Let's try like a brick texture. Hear me out. And we'll go ahead and do a color ramp. And we'll do like, I don't know, like brown. It's not really brown. Brown to like lighter brown. That's good. Okay, that's what I want. And then I want to do some mapping here. And I'm thinking we can make this look like it has like levels to it with bump node and stuff like that. All right, let's do that. Now look, we can scale it. Well, first of all, let's do offset none. And let's make everything even. We can scale it on the, which way? Let's try object. I want to let me scale it the way I want to scale it. Let's try UV, I guess. Is that going to work? Doesn't want to let me. Well, I guess we can rotate it. Maybe not. Okay. Let me try another approach. I have an idea. Everybody stay calm. We are going to make the width maybe greater than the height. Really doesn't want to let me do what I want to do. That's a little bit annoying. Let me try texture. And we'll try normal maybe. Why doesn't it want to let me do this? Vector, frequency. Oh, you know what we could try? I doubt this will work, but we can try it. We can try a remesh. No, that doesn't work. That's weird. I have another idea. I want to try this texture. I don't really mess around with this texture, but this is a new texture in Blender called the Gabor texture. I don't know how to say it. Let's just see what this texture looks like. Oh, 3D, yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Ooh, this might be a little bit better. That's kind of what I was looking for. That actually kind of almost looks like wood. Just sort of what I'm looking for there. There we go. That's kind of something. I kind of liked what it was before. Let me try rotating it. Not bad. Not really sure what this like value does here. I actually don't think that looks that bad. I don't love it. Like I'm not in love with that look. Let's try a bump node. And let's plug it into the normal. Whoa. It's textured. I don't know. I don't really mind that. I actually don't think that looks that bad. Thoughts? It's not that bad. I don't know. There's your model. There's your sword. It's not perfect, but it works for me. I like it. We have the pommel type thing. We have the handle, whatever you want to call that, and then the actual like blade itself. I feel like it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this model. It's not perfect. It's not perfect by any means, but it's like a good little modeling practice for us. Looks sharp. I'll tell you that, it looks very sharp. Well done. All right, guys, I am going to wrap this stream up. We've been streaming for quite a long time. I want to say thank you guys so much for joining. We have been streaming for about 1 hour and 30 minutes. Not too long, but just enough time to kind of get into some nodes, some shader nodes, learn a few new things. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining, and I hope you guys have a great day. I will talk to you in the next live stream. And yeah, we'll hopefully live stream tomorrow or maybe the next day, depending on what life brings us. So have a great day. Keep on blending. If you